Welcome to the Fix. First up, Felix. How are you? Tell everyone actually where you are right now, this very second.
Ivan, it's such a lovely sight seeing you there at the cottage because I'm just homesick even seeing that because I'm in New York doing some baseball stuff out here, which has been great, but it's meaning that I'm missing Fulham a little bit. But because I'm here for a week, I'm staying in Times Square. I found out where because we're just after Fulham Chelsea, where I've been hearing your voice through the TV, actually.
Well, have you? It wasn't the chirpiest of tones.
Yeah, exactly. Your sullen, your melancholic tones. But I ran to the bar in New York to listen to watch the game, and I had in my head I'll be there amongst friends, amongst Fulham fans. I was the only Fulham fan in there, and there were about 150 gloating American Chelsea fans saying stuff like, "Our offence sucked until now, but now we're playing Fulham. Our offence is ticking." So that was my experience, unfortunately. It wasn't the story I wanted to tell you. How was it at the cottage? Because obviously we're coming straight off the back of Fulham 0, Chelsea 2. How did it feel there?
Well, before we went and lost the game, it was a very good atmosphere. It was no, genuinely, hand on heart, like it was a really pumping atmosphere. It was have you witnessed the light show on a night game yet, mate?
I don't know if I have.
It's brilliant. They got the light show going. They had a massive Fulham logo, the badge on the pitch as well. Thunderstruck by AC/DC was playing, and it was honestly, the whole place felt dark. It was genuinely epic. And then London's Originals appeared on the pitch, and I'm like, oh, this is banging. It's so good. And then we started playing the game, and there's clearly no way of spinning this positively, is there? So I think the only thing we can do is, Chelsea, they got the win,
Yeah, well, look, I think it's just from my perspective anyway. From what I was watching, it's just it's like a minute or 2 minutes, isn't it, where they win the game? Where that's like, I mean, those goals are pretty open, so that they're a bit of a shame. But other than that, like they had the ball a lot first half, but Raul had a chance first half, and he had a couple second. I will say that Alex Iwobi looked like he changed the impetus a little bit, actually. He looks like a ball of energy, doesn't he?
Yeah, a couple of times I've seen him play now. Norwich as well, he looked fantastic, and he is. I think he's going to be a real sort of fan favourite and a real important player for us this season. Castagna as well, I think, had a good game.
Castagna looks decent as well, yeah.
He really does. So I think...
So did it just suck it flat at the cottage when those two got, obviously, I mean... When those 2 goals went in, did it just feel like we're just going to have one of those nights now?
Yeah, I think so, a little bit. But it's it's one of those things, and that you've got to look on to the next in those moments, don't you? Yeah, you just have to. You put them to one side and you go right on to the next game, and hopefully try and get 3 points out of the next game.
Exactly.
And Sheffield United is the next game. It's a big game for us, and it's hopefully going to be one where we can bounce back quickly.
Exactly, mate. It's a double disappointment for me because I'm in America. I'm watching Fulham. I was just in my head when I went to the bar, like I had a vision that I was going to be watching it with Carlos Bocanegra and Eddie Lewis and Brian McBride and Clint.
So they're all there with you, mate, in spirit, but just weren't actually there.
Well, no, they weren't with me in spirit or in physical presence. They were nowhere to be seen. It's weird how you get because even when it's like American Chelsea fans. It's weird how it does something to you. Like, not that, like, I'm not one to buy into all that sort of rivalry, but I was sat there on my own eating chicken quesadilla, getting increasingly sort of worked up by the situation. And I didn't expect to be. It's funny how it still seeps into your pores, even from the other side of the world. But yeah, Keith Allen's told us that before as well.
Hey, let's flip this on its head now. Let's talk about the positive powerhouse presence that is our guest on the podcast today.
Yeah, great use of phrase, positive powerhouse presence. It's Steve Sidwell.
It is Steve Sidwell, who obviously has played for both Chelsea and Fulham. Definitely more of a hero for Fulham than Chelsea. I think he didn't play as much for Chelsea, but was such an important player for us.
Yeah, that was an interesting one with Chelsea, wasn't it? Because I think he at Reading, he was a real sort of wonder kid type thing. And I think him moving to Chelsea was one of those classic transfers where it didn't quite click, but he just felt really at home at Fulham, didn't he, in that right period of his career. And it's a lot of a chat, actually. We forget after the Roy, but there were some really good, a couple of good seasons under Mark Hughes with that Fulham team, and when we were a really competitive, really good team, really good squad. And Sid was a big part of that, wasn't it? It's sort of no surprise to me, having spoke with him as we did, that he's having a sort of resurgence as a personality now, because he was that sort of footballer, wasn't he, where you can see that he understood the game from all kinds of perspectives, from being a sort of boy wonder to having to read the game in different ways, and then in his final part of his career, maybe at Fulham, sort of becoming a bit of that stalwart, almost a Danny Murphy replacement type character, really, wasn't he, towards the end?
Without a doubt. I always used to think he was a similar to Scott Parker in the way he played, and his kind of, they were like two rocks. Do you know what I mean? Together. Exactly.
And lest we forget, the phrase Ginger Iniesta was not coined for Harrison Reed. It was initially coined for Sid.
Absolutely. And he lived up to that name as far as I'm concerned. He was that sort of player. And man, he can tell a story. Like I said, it's interesting now that he's got such a kind of a personality after football. He's gone into the podcast and things like that, and you can see why, man. He's such an engaging guy and tells a story brilliantly as well. And lovely company, wasn't he? He's doing a lot of stuff with Crouch, and you can feel why people gravitate towards him, because he's really easy company. And after the chat, which felt like it went on forever, it was like beautiful long chat. He just sat with us on the benches outside, didn't he? And it went on and on and on. He just sort of really nice person to be in the presence of. Agreed. Should we give it a spin?
Steve Sidwell, welcome to Fulham Fix, mate.
Glad to be here.
Oh,
so
man.
Good.
So buzzing to see you.
Seen Berbatov doing it as well. And
yeah.
He's come out of his shell a bit more, hasn't he?
He certainly has. Quite unexpectedly as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Let's start there, because when we met Berba, we weren't sure, because he never did any press at Fulham. He did literally 5 minutes when he first came to the club, and that was it. Yeah. So we were worried he was going to be intimidating, he was going to say anything, but he was he was almost emotionally quite exposed and stuff as well. Did you have that in the dressing room? Was he quite quiet?
I think literally the year he was here, a couple of conversations here and there.
Do you remember what about? Was it all
football? He loves football.
That was the conversation about football.
Never about anything else ever. You didn't even know what he got up to outside of the training ground. Yeah, he was keen, loves his football, but that was him. He was just an introvert. He just kept himself to himself, and you just got to respect that. It's one of them.
Have you seen him since playing with him?
Do you know what? I don't think I have. I spoke to him on the phone. Someone else was speaking to him, and they put me on to him, and we had a chat. But I haven't seen him. I got on really well with him. We had a good relationship. He was good as gold. But yeah, it's nice to see a few of them are coming on. And listen, podcasts are great now, aren't they? It's a great way for listeners to when they're commuting, or now now you can watch them as well. So it's good, and you get a little bit of insight here and there.
Totally. And when we reflect on that team, we talk about Berbatov. I only look back on that now. It was 10 years ago. What a good team that actually was. That Mark Hughes era, Martin Jol era Fulham team. Yeah. Because you, Berbatov, Dembele for a while you played with.
Musa.
How do you reflect on it? It was actually a really talented squad, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll go into it, we'll divulge more, but I loved my time here. I loved it. And that year we went down was really, really hard. For me, although I had probably personally a good season, which is hard to say when you go down, but that, as you say, that squad of players, we was too good. We should have stayed up. Yeah. We threw games away that we should have had. We had a lot of talent, but it is what it is. But yeah, it was good people. Always has been a good family club. They've come in now, the reception, and there's smiles everywhere. It's good. I love it.
Look, we were talking to Jeff beforehand, and he was saying when you left the club, you went around to everyone saying goodbye, and he said, actually, that's very rare for a footballer to do that. Yeah. Is that something you would do out of protocol, out of manners, or is it something like there's a connection with Fulham maybe?
Yeah, I think I've done it all the time at every club, because it's definitely one of them. At every football club, it's not just the team, the manager and that squad, it's everyone around it. There's a lot of hard work that goes unnoticed. So I made sure that at every club I was at that I left, I went around and shook everyone's hand, from cleaners, cooks, everyone at the training ground, in the offices, because one, you got an attachment to them as well. Yeah. But I think more so here, because from the day that I first signed here, my first training session, although I knew a few of the boys, it just felt like home. Just felt like I was literally walked into my house.
Really?
Yeah, it really did. And I think that's why I enjoyed it, and that's probably why I'll probably play some of my best football here.
Why? Like, what's the difference between some of those past teams that you're with before Fulham? What made this different? Why did it feel so personable?
I think one, definitely more personal issues with me. At the time, I was at Aston Villa, the club before, which didn't really work out logistically. There were some personal issues with my middle son at the time, Rocco. He was in hospital with meningitis, so we was up and down from London a lot, commuting. Sure. And then when the option to come back home and sign here, there was a few times beforehand where it never sort of materialised under Roy, but when the opportunity to come.
So Roy was interested in signing you,
Yeah,
was
when
he?
you actually speak to Roy, if you get him on or if you have a chat, he goes, yeah, I signed you. That's what, seriously,
really?
you know, he's quite deadpan as well, you never know. And he was like, I got the ball rolling on you, yeah, I signed you.
Really?
I'm sure it was Mark Hughes in the January window, but
The paperwork was done at that point.
I did nearly come, I did nearly sign, but I just wanted to really make it work at Villa. I see that as the stepping stone to then kick on my career from Chelsea, but it never materialised. It's one of the clubs that it just in football managers it doesn't happen. So to come home, and then when I was commuting, because I was commuting near enough every day to Birmingham. So it's from turning a 144-mile trip into a 6-mile trip.
Beautiful.
It was nice, and then when I come through literally that gate and into the dressing room, it was like, this is it.
Well, you nearly stayed in Birmingham because I've heard a story that you're literally doing a medical with Wolves, right? When you signed for Fulham. Yeah. Take us there, man. Were you very close to signing for Wolves? Like, you must have been literally minutes away.
Literally on minutes. So Bobby Zamora, so Zamo is basically my agent. I have to really fee. So me and Bob, we played at Brighton, and we've kept in contact ever since then, and we're best friends. So I was literally having a medical at Wolves. So probably 2 or 3 weeks before that, Mick McCarthy was at Wolves. He reached out and he was like, look, get you out of Villa, I'll give you a chance, it'd be a good platform for you. Wolves were playing some good football as well at the time. Yeah. And I thought, do you know what, let's do it. I just want to get out, I want to play. And I give Mick my word as well. It's just really
gentleman's
bad.
agreement.
I know, it's really, really bad. So,
dear.
So he put all the hard work in, and I was like, listen, let's do it. So they played Chelsea a night game. They beat them. We stayed over, and we had the medical the next morning. So on the way to the medical, I spoke to Bob's, and I said, I'm going to have a medical at Wolves. So obviously he's coming here. He's told Eddie Ned. He told Bo and told Mark Hughes. So he was like, listen, Sidders
is knocking on doors in here.
Literally come in. He was like, listen, Sidders is having a medical at Wolves. Yeah. So if you want to get him, you need to act fast. So we got to Wolves. I'm in the training kit. I'm in the dressing room. I knew a few of the players. They're in for a warm down. And I'm literally on the machines, and then my agents sort of just give it that one on the door and put his head around the corner. And
Can I have a word?
And literally said, I need to have a word. And then I'm like, I'm in the kit. I'm literally I'm having the testings done, and all the boys are going, oh, yeah, it's not signed yet. It's not done. So I got outside and we sat in the car. He said, listen, Fulham want to sign you, and I was like, look, if we're driving down the M40, it has to be done. I said, let's get Mark Hughes on the phone. So I got Spark on the phone. He was like, listen, all good, agreed, come down. And I was like, 100%. I said, because I've give Mick my word. So as we're talking, all of a sudden, this big shadow has just appeared by the side of the car.
No.
And it's Mick, and he's tapped on the window, and I think I undone the window about that much.
Oh, amazing.
And he said...
He's a scary guy as well when he's angry.
Yeah, and he was like, is there a problem? And I was like, I think there might be, Mick. He went, come on then, let's go and sort it out like men. Like that, literally. And he turned around and walked off, and I'm like a little school kid behind him. So I followed him into his office. I've gone, look, Mick, I'm really sorry, but Fulham have come in and it's home for me. And I explained the situation.
Yeah.
And he understood, because his family was from London as well, from when he was time at Millwall. Right, and he was up there on his own, and he said, look, I understand it. If I could get down south, I would do as well. And then a few explicits were shouted, and he said, get out of my office, if I can swear. He said, he said basically, get out of my office. Like that. And then, I walked out, and I felt bad because I did give him my handshake
Still
agreement.
in the Wolves training kit.
Yeah, and I literally I got that off as quick as I could, and we come down south and it was done. So
that's a joy.
Was there any part of you when he knocked on the car, or were you walking to the office thinking, actually, I might just stay just to avoid the wrath of Mick
There was
McCarthy?
an element of that, and I just thought that probably lasted 0.2 seconds. And then it was,
The rational thought
I was home.
I bet that was good to pull away. Do you know what I mean? Like the moment you got out of that training ground and started heading.
Yeah, I was still nervous though. I was still nervous because I'd give him my word. I felt really bad on that. Because in football you never know. Like that situation there, until something's signed, sealed, delivered, you never know.
Yeah.
So even that driving down that night and then doing the medical, But then when I signed, it was great. Yes. It was great. I remember my first session as well. My first training session. So my first training session, I signed on the Friday, and the lads played. I'm sure they played Peterborough in the FA Cup on the Saturday at home. So I trained with a few of the ones that left over, a few of the injured ones, and I trained with Musa for the first time. And I never knew him, never heard of him. Yeah. So we was training here, and then we was going to go to Craven Cottage to watch a game. Anyway, so I trained, and Musa's sort of rocked up late, as he did, sort of laces undone. And I'm like, who's this cat? Wow. I was blown away. I walked straight in, got on the phone to Bob's, because he was obviously on his way now to the stadium. And I was like, Bob's, who the is Musa? Like, this kid is unreal. He said, mate, get on YouTube, just watch his clips from AZ Alkmaar. And he just blew me away. Yeah. Literally blew me away. And then I went down to the stadium after and watched the game, and then that was it. From I think the next week onwards, I just literally hit the ground running. Just
incredible. Like it's so funny that you say you felt at home immediately, because from the outside perspective as a Fulham fan, you've just felt like a Fulham player instantly. Yeah. Sometimes it takes like 6 months. Even with Musa, it took a little second to work.
Yeah, we had to shift him around places, didn't we? Yeah.
It just felt like, like visually, it's like, oh, Sid's just like a Fulham.
Straight away. I think my first game, Wigan away, I don't think I come on. And then we played Stoke at home. And then I think Dixon got injured and I come on.
So it would have been you and Danny? Would it have been you and
Danny?
So
Dixon got injured and I come on for about the last half hour. They had a man sent off and I played out my skin. Like nearly scored, and straight away just couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to train, couldn't wait to play. Yeah. There was a bit of rivalry with me. Like Murph was obviously always going to play. It was always either me or Dixon that was going to be sort of side by side with him, because Musa was sort of played either in front or right on the wing. And just played and enjoyed it and just played my best football.
Did you feel like you were the player that you'd hoped you were at Villa type thing? Something just clicked?
Just something was there. And again, you'd think all the ingredients at Villa, James Milner, Petrov, Stewie Downing, Ashley Young, Gabby Heskey, Dunny, James Collins, Brad Friedel in goal. Like we had a
massive
names. Like we should have got top 4 one year. Yeah. But like I said, just some things it just didn't happen for me there for whatever reason. And you look back on your career, that's one negative, but this was definitely a positive that took over.
Yeah. It's funny as well when you say Hodgson, you almost signed for Hodgson, because I can see you perfectly in that team as well. Yeah. That group of players, the way they were, that kind of like slightly traditional, solid, reliable. Do you know what I mean?
Just regimented in there.
Exactly.
I hate playing against them as well.
Did you?
Oh God, it was like just 4-4-2. Just the gaps were tiny. They just knew distances, and it's just so hard to break down and beat.
Do you know what? It's actually funny you say that, because Danny Murphy was in here last week, and I don't know if you clocked this. You will have done, but the first thing I said was like, determination, character, throwing yourself in front of the ball. Yeah. He actually took a bit of an affront to that, didn't he? He said to me, actually, you do us a bit of a disservice by saying that, because anyone can throw themselves in front of football, and we were actually like really gifted and organised and all that kind of thing. It was like a sort of moment of like, oh, he's put me in my place there and understanding football, because do you know what I mean? Yeah. I could way more than that.
They've done it every day. Like, I remember talking to Bobs when he was here, and he was like, oh, mate, just no five-a-side. It's horrific. Like, not horrific. He just that fun element.
Oh, yeah.
Just so regimented. He said, but come game day, we know what we're doing, and it's becoming fruitful. So you can't knock it. But that still had an effect when I come. And obviously Mark Hughes took over. So he obviously changed a little bit, but that ethos was still there. And everyone loves playing at Craven Cottage. I loved playing at Craven Cottage. Home for the home team or for the away team, which is a nice place to go.
Yeah.
Nice and friendly, a bit too friendly probably if I've got a real
as a home atmosphere type
thing. Like sometimes with me, you know, I like that, you know, that real cauldron of, you know, going there and especially playing away from home. I prefer playing away from home than I did at home, but Fulham was always a nice place to go and play.
Have you been there recently at all? You seen the new stand?
Seen the new stand, yeah. So I come to the Leeds game. I've done a bit for BT on the Leeds game. Yeah, it looks great. Hopefully when it gets done and ticked off.
It's packed out.
But yeah, it looks good. I see there was a picnic there the other day. Only Fulham can have
on
the pitch. I see that. So
isn't it amazing? I tweeted a photo. I took my my 3.5-month-old there, and I was changing a nappy on the corner flag, and I thought, not many Premier League clubs would let you do this.
Yeah, you got lovely Bishop's Park next door, everyone just goes on the pitch.
Yeah, we get stick flat. We did get a bit of stick flat, didn't we? But it's like such a nice club. We have a picnic. But I actually thought, but this makes me a typical Fulham fan. I thought, that is really nice.
Exactly. Yeah. No. Do you know what? It's little things like that though that just bring everyone together, and I think they're just a real connection from the fans to staff to players. They're and it's probably I come in and done a piece with Paulina before the Leeds game, and was talking to Mark Maunders. Big shout out to Mark Maunders, by the way, what a legend.
Everyone's
every single player. Love him,
So and he actually said that this season it was probably the first season since Roy where there'd been a real connection from the manager down to the staff, to the players, and that filtered through. And you could see that. You could even see that just watching games.
Yeah.
And then when you actually come in, you hear it, you can go,
Yeah. Interesting. I want to talk about some of your goals, Sid.
Yeah.
First one that's popping in my head as I'm looking at you is the one against Palace.
Yeah.
Where the ball's just dives. I don't know what the score is at the time, but the ball kind of floats. I think it rebounds off a free kick off the wall.
Yeah.
And it looks like one of those surreal moments where it's sat up almost like it would do in training for you, or someone's delivering the ball to you and you ping it from outside. Yeah, can you still see it?
Visualise that. I know. The mad thing was, I think it was Dwight Gale? Dwight Gale for Palace.
Might, but yeah.
He was standing next to me.
Right, yeah.
Typical striker. As the free kick, if you actually watch it back, as the free kick gets taken, it hits the wall. As the fella's taking it, I think it might have been Kieran Richardson that took it. He starts sprinting off to the halfway line for a takeaway. Like he's on my toes. So if he stands there, it doesn't happen.
Don't get the ball,
So as soon as that kick gets taken, he's off. It literally goes up in the air, and it's just one of the moments where you just watch it, and it just slow motion.
Yeah.
And all you just think about is just getting a good contact, and it's just one of them sweet ones. Like if whoever plays golf out there, when you hit a sweet shot and it just doesn't
straight up, doesn't
feel it? Yeah, just and
any other game.
I know
that's our goal of the season. Do you know what I mean? That it was a bullet. It was an absolute bullet. So how was it? A little bit bittersweet when Kasami put in?
Not at all. Yeah. I'm not one for that. But people, obviously, everyone knows me. I'd rather us win, not score. You know, it's all about the team and do or die. Just by hook or by crook, I want 3 points. Yeah. But watching that Kasami goal, when he put that in, I've not seen a better goal live. At all, ever.
Talk us through the best goal I've ever seen. Because we heard Berbatov describe it in real time, where he sort of said, "I remember the ball from Sasha Rita," and he said, and it was ball. Yeah. So I just ignored it.
Yeah.
And then suddenly Kasami does this, otherworldly, contorts his body.
It's one touch in it. Is it one touch?
Off his chest.
I can't tell you how hard. That is to do, literally, because the ball is in the channel. You're right. It's just like literally got a siren on it, isn't it? It's like, right, get on the end of that, and then he's running full tilt. And he just pops it off his chest in one motion, and then just with his weaker foot, just puts his right chucker on it, and then just whips it in the top bin. It's phenomenal. I can't tell you how hard that is to do. But what a goal! Even when he done it, I said to myself, wow.
Did you have moments in your career where you've done something on a pitch which you didn't even know you were capable of off it? Do you know what I mean? Because that struck me when you were saying that. Like sometimes it brings some sort of magic out of you. Yeah, it
does. I think everyone's gifted in certain elements. Like my strength of my game was obviously just win the ball back, tackling and then giving it, as Zamo would say, get it and give it to the good players.
Ginger in Iniesta.
I mean, that song's class.
We sing about Harrison Reed now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's been brilliant. He's been absolutely class. I don't know. I think it's just an element of confidence that an unconscious part of your brain just takes over, and you just whip out a little bit of skill, or and you go, oh, did I really do that? So.
I'd love to feel that.
But that goal was special. That goal, I like that
didn't you
one.
do almost maybe I've dreamt this, but didn't you do like a mirrored, like almost the exact same goal again the week after? I swear you scored
my first goal.
Yeah,
my first goal for Fulham was against Liverpool, which was similar.
Yeah,
the one we got done at home.
Right.
Was it Suarez got a hat trick or Maxi Rodriguez got a hat trick? Yeah, Maxi Rodriguez got a hat trick. That was my first goal, which was ball came in, got headed out, and I literally just popped it up and then hit a little sidewinder, and then I actually enjoyed that one more. Sounds mad, even though we was losing. I remember walking back, and John Joe Shelby said something to me walking back, and I don't even know what he said. I was in like that little tunnel vision, but
I
scored a few.
Or something negative, something.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, something. Yeah, probably. You've been watching my DVDs or something like that.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Typical Shelby. So there's been a few. There's been a few Fulham ones, and
do you remember this one? Because Jeff reminded me of it actually this morning, that you got injured that year for a period of time.
Yeah.
And you came back in the start of 12-13 season where we smashed Norwich.
Norwich penalty.
And Jol brings you on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was interested from your perspective, because you nail that ball, and it's almost like, firstly, like he's brought you on. You wouldn't necessarily be a natural penalty taker for that moment, and secondly, there's a moment of like alleviation of like I'm back, where you like nail that football. That
was really hard. That year that I got injured, I had a groin. Basically, it was a routine hernia operation that just escalated, and I played as long as I could with this hernia, and I thought, right, I'll get it done and nipped in the bud in like October time. I think Arsenal might have been one of my last games when me and Zamo scored at home.
Yes, we beat Arsenal, didn't we?
Yeah. And then it nearly finished my career, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, I nearly didn't come back from that. I ended up going to California to see a specialist, because in the end I had to have a groin release, where they literally opened me up and then just got a scalpel and just cut my groin. To just give it that sort of release, that tension, because it just and it was really hard. First injury that I've prolonged, and with no real final product of when I was going to come back.
Sure.
So that coming back that pre-season and getting through that, and then not starting the first game of the season, and then coming on, it was probably that release of just this ball was just going to get out. Because I don't think no one picked the ball up. Because because Petra, he got two that game, didn't he?
Yeah.
He must have come off, because obviously he would have been on the pen.
Right.
And then another striker must have been off. And then I remember getting the pen and no one going to the ball, and I literally was like, I'm having that.
Yeah. This is.
And I remember just putting it down, just going, I'm just going to unleash the last 8 months into this ball. And it was a sign of relief, that, and it was nice to be back on the pitch.
What an amazing feeling.
Yeah. Because ultimately that's what you want to do. You know, you work Monday to Friday for that moment on a Saturday, and then when you miss that for so long and you're watching the team do well, it's hard. It's hard.
Let's talk a bit about your time under. So you obviously played under a few different managers at Fulham. So Martin Jol era, what are your memories of that time? Because it was a funny time, wasn't it? I think the second season with him got quite tough.
Yeah, I got on really well with Martin. I thought he was a good coach. I could see the way that he wanted the club to go, the direction. But that second season just didn't really materialise.
What do you put that down to?
I mean, I'm still an advocate that if he would have stayed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember, so it's so funny, because obviously we'd had that first season with him, and it was good, it was solid, there were some good results. And then I remember watching the second season, and we got to, was it a Sunderland game, I think, and we didn't even get a shot away at all the whole game. And I remember thinking, we might be in a bit of trouble this season. That was the first time I thought.
Yeah.
But it made no sense, because it was almost all the same group of players.
Yeah.
We'd missed, there were a few had got. I think obviously Dembele, I think had gone at that time.
Yeah.
Dempsey as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is it something that happens in the dressing room? Is it just a vibe because you know you're not scoring? Yeah.
It's kind of a snowball effect.
Yeah.
It's a habit. When you're winning, it's a habit. It just becomes natural. It's the same as losing, or even not even losing. It's sometimes just playing poorly. And 5 games turns into 15, 15 turns into 25, and before you know it, you're like, wow. I remember Scott Parker saying early on, we must have been 4 or 5 games in, and then after one of the games he said, boys, if we don't pull our finger out, I'm telling you, we're going to get relegated. Because I think he must have had a near miss the season before, maybe at West Ham. So he see it. He could see
what was coming.
All the ingredients already there.
Yeah.
And then it gets to January, and then Berber goes, and then because he was like, I don't know none of this. I'm not having this on my CV.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it was.
So it kind of just and we didn't just play well. But I do believe if he stayed, we would have even if we had just scraped by, because you're going from one manager to the next and to the next. It's hard to adapt.
It was tricky. So what was your thoughts when so obviously Martin Jol left, and then it was René Mullenstein, his number 2 came up.
Because
we actually
really
played some
hard.
quite interesting football under him. We had a few odd results, but we actually played some quite fast attacking football.
He got sacked a week after we run Liverpool really close.
Yes,
that's right. But then we lost to, was it Sheffield United in the cup or something like that? I mean,
we played well against, was it Spurs at home as well? We played really well. I think. Listen, you don't know what goes on upstairs and that, but you could tell that when Rennie came in, it was a case of I'm going to start getting the youngsters in, because it could be we need to start looking at next season.
Okay.
So the signings that come in that January was more of a younger group as well, with not much experience, more that championship. Can they start there and get us out? So the dynamics, you can see the dynamics changing. Ray Wilkins was here, wasn't he, as well? Then Curbs come in. It was a little bit too many chiefs. Who's the coach? Who's the manager? Who's head coach? It didn't really seem like a dynamic. But Rennie, I got on well with him. When he left, I called him. I remember calling him at the train station to thank him for all his efforts and stuff, because he was, first of all, he was a nice guy.
Yeah,
he was a nice guy. And I remember my first game under him. I think Kit actually put me forward to play. I don't think I was due to play.
Right.
It was against Villa at home, and I scored as well. I think it was the game that Berber pulled the one out of space.
Yeah.
Where he just killed the ball. Do you remember when
we talked to him about that? Yeah.
It was that
game. Do you remember
game.
that happening?
Oh yeah. Berber had silky feet, didn't he?
It's ridiculous.
It was just elegant. I mean, he'd walk on snow and not have footprints, wouldn't he? It was like,
that's a really lovely way of putting it.
He was just like poetry in motion, like elegant. But not someone you want to have in a dogfight, but it is what it is. So, when Rennie went and then Felix come in, there was just too many change of dynamics.
Talk about Felix quickly. We have been warned to stay away from the subject of Felix for too long.
What
was that? What was your perspective? I don't know if you told anecdotes that
there's so many stories have come out and they're all true, but they're all true. You can't lie.
So Hangeland's true.
Yeah, I swear, gospel truth. That's true.
Right.
Put cheese on your knee, go home and call your mum. I mean, like. So.
And was it just to Hangeland he said that, or did he try it with anyone else?
I think after that, no one really wanted, because he was quite controlling, Felix, and again, different circumstances, it would have worked, but. The pros that we had there, they were looking at going, I'm not really sure this is the one. But again, I got on with Felix.
Yeah? Did you?
Yeah, I got on with him really well.
I'm getting the impression you get on with everyone.
Yeah, you sound like,
or
a nice guy.
I think it's one of them.
Is there anyone, to give us a name of someone you've not got on with right now in your career, there's someone you can go, nah, not him. And then we'll buy it.
I didn't see, Martin O'Neill at Villa.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we fell out. We fell out big time. Yeah. Personal reasons. There was things said that was really poor.
Right.
But
on his part.
Yeah. And I haven't seen, actually. We haven't crossed paths.
Really?
If I'd see him now, I don't know. I'd go to talk to him, but it would be
be awkward.
Yeah. It will definitely be awkward, yeah.
Really?
But yeah, there's not many. But
Yeah.
which probably surprises people because on the pitch I'm an absolute lunatic.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when I cross that white line. I just want to win.
Talk about being a lunatic, wasn't it? This might be my memory, but I think you served the ban.
Oh yeah.
And then you came back from the ban and got sent off immediately.
Yeah, back-to-back red cards. That's
yeah.
not good.
Was that in the relegation? Was that in the relegation?
No, that was the season before.
That was the season before.
Yeah, so I missed the last 7 games of the season.
Yeah.
So
What happened there? What happened there? You were on for like 10 minutes or something, and you.
Yeah, so I got a red card against QPR, 2 yellows.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a straight red against QPR. We appealed it. It was actually harsh. I thought it was harsh.
The first one.
The first one against QPR.
And was it overturned?
No. Okay. So we actually done a formal appeal to the FA, like analysts, sort of where the ball went, and it was pretty harsh. And then I done 3 games, come back, and it was that time of the season as well where there was no midweek games, so it was 3 long weeks.
Yeah.
And then we played Arsenal, and 12 minutes in, goal kick. I can remember it as well. Goal kick come up. It was a challenge, and it was me and Arteta, and he just got there before, and it was just a lethargic lunge. There was no malice in it. I didn't mean caught him on the shin right next to the ref. He's gone down screaming.
Do you know in that moment that's it?
I knew straight away. I knew straight away. I think I even tried to give it sort of like I was injured. Maybe then went until you hold your head. I think the ball hit me on the head, or he hit me on the head as he was going down. I'm holding my head like with my
some like little sympathy vote there.
The referee just standing there like just
waiting for you. I've got a card for you, mate.
Go on.
And then
that used to happen a lot before VAR.
Yeah,
the player that had done the tackle would go down.
And then I knew, and then the red card happened, and that's the worst feeling. And I've come in, and you sit in the dressing room, and you know you've let the team down. You're 12 minutes in. It's Arsenal.
The game's
home.
gone.
Yeah. And
so I remember your walk, because at the Cottage, obviously, there's a long walk back into that dressing room. So I remember you being at the back of Hammersmith and watching you walk into the distance.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, it's like
horrible.
a walk of shame, really, isn't it?
And then there's some fans giving it to you. There's some fans clapping. So you don't want to clap yourself off, get a red card. Who does that? And then I got fined 2.5 weeks' wages for that.
Did you?
Yeah, they done me 2.5 weeks' wages.
Was that in the contract that you get fined for something like that?
Well, the first one, I think it was more of a case of, look, that they probably looked at it going, he's missed 7 games out of 38.
Okay.
That's not on.
Okay.
So, I think we done it in 12 monthly instalments. I think I put it out at direct debit.
Set up a direct debit to Fulham. That's amazing. That's amazing.
But it hurt.
Of course.
So, but it never stopped me. I know I was like that was me. I was just that committed player that. And tackling is an art. Tackling's a skill.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned it again, like with Paulina, he is just phenomenal. Like the way he does, he's got his telescopic leg that just goes out. You can read how certain players are. So I knew if I'm playing against Ronaldo, he's going to stop the ball. He's going to drag you in because he wants to explode out wide. I know if you're playing Stevie or Carrick, they're going to take the ball on the back foot really away from you. Yeah. So you get to know traits.
Yeah.
I just had that knack and that skill of hard but fair. I'd always go for the ball first, and if I could nail the player after, then I'd obviously do that. Whereas now you can't do that. Because you just can't. You get booked on the follow through now, which is. I mean, I don't think I could play now.
Really?
I don't think
you were taught to sort of like.
I don't think I could tailor my game to just.
Right.
Go in for a tackle. Like it's impossible to go in for a tackle, win the ball, and then a split second pull your foot out to not hurt. Someone. Yeah. That's you're going to get hurt yourself if you start doing that.
That's why Pellegrini is so good, isn't it? Because he can judge that
to perfection.
Yeah,
like he's phenomenal.
Yeah, phenomenal. I mean, obviously he he's got a number of bookings this season, but no reds. Like he's good at what he does. Like you said, it is a real skill, a real art form. Yeah. Is he for you, like of the players you've seen at Fulham? Is he the standout player? Are there any other players that
this season or just over the years gone by?
No, this season. This current crop
for me,
of players.
one of the signings of the season in the Premier League in general.
Yeah, we've heard that there was while you're playing for them, there was some kind of like bet you had on with your son who was playing in an academy team of who could score most goals.
Yeah, he was in the academy here. Yeah.
Was that at Fulham as well?
Yeah,
so you were both playing at different levels.
He was here. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I basically lived here. So I'd be training a day, go back home, and then he'll finish school, and then like he was training here 3 days a week and then playing. So even some days he would play on a Saturday morning. I'd go and watch him play at the training ground, and then go to stadium to play my own game.
No way, man!
Amazing.
Yeah.
So how close were you to Motspur Park?
Literally other side of Epsom, so it was not even far.
Yeah.
And you know what? My wife actually really misses Fulham, because we had every game. We had a box in the far end.
Yeah.
And they used to come every game, every home game. Right. After the game, kids would come on the pitch, have a little kick around as well. Groundsman was fuming. He's trying to get things going. I'm like, sorry.
Yeah.
And just going for something to eat after, whether it was in Putney or Richmond or Wimbledon, and just like the whole dynamics, it just all worked around Fulham.
Yeah.
And she really, really misses it. Really misses it.
Do you still stay in touch with Fulham in that way? Do you still think of look for the scores and that kind of thing?
Oh yeah, all the time, all the time. And obviously going now into broadcasting, you tend to do the teams that you've played for, because you've got more of an insight into them than other people. So I cover Fulham a lot, especially this season, and it's brilliant. It's just so good to see him back.
Yeah,
and it is back where they belong. It really is.
Well, it's back in your era, really, isn't it? It's like we're back and established that sort of
trying to keep that established thing up, because it was very hard. Like when we did get relegated, what was your feelings around the time? Would you have ever considered staying on and playing in the Championship, or at that point? Again, I can see you're obviously an ambitious guy, so probably you wanted to play
my one was a bit messy, to be fair.
Was it?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a messy one. And looking back, probably in hindsight, I should have stayed.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I went to Stoke with Mark Hughes, not just to stay in the Premier League, but there was a few things going on upstairs that I weren't really happy with, which was what was said. And again,
At Fulham?
Yeah, this was a different dynamics with the managers going.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I thought there was things being said about Martin Jol wanting to sell me. Then the other man, then Rennie didn't, and then Felix wanted to keep me, but then the board wanted to get me on or not keep me. And then I remember Felix literally said to me, "Do you want to stay at this football club?" And I was like, "Yeah." So yeah, it was just a little bit messy, but I went, and it was probably the wrong decision to go. But then
was there an offer? Was there an option to stay? Was there an offer? There was.
Yeah, there was. At the end, there was, but we'd already agreed to the Stoke thing had already come up and done.
Man, yeah. Because we needed, I think that's it. That's what we were missing when we went down. Obviously, Scott stayed.
Yeah.
And, but I think if we'd had someone like yourself down there, you know what I mean? Just established solid, and I think that's what we were missing.
Yeah, yeah. It was never a case of, I'm too good for the Championship, I'm not going to go. It was, because again, that season, I think Scott had a few injuries as well. We didn't really hit it off as a partnership.
No. Yeah.
Whereas I think definitely in that next season, we would be on fire.
Yeah.
But then going to Stoke, open up other avenues, met great people again, and
I was going to say, because that's where you'd have met Crouch properly, right?
Well, I knew Crouch growing up when I was at Arsenal, and he was at Spurs, and then going out and being on the scene in West End and stuff, but England under 21s. So going back up there, and I've got to say, Stoke, every club that I've been at, lucky enough, I've had a great dressing room.
Yeah.
So starting at Arsenal, going to Reading, all of them, Brighton, Stoke, here, but Stoke's dressing room, even Villa dressing room was amazing, but Stoke's dressing room was just off the charts.
Who was at Stoke at the time? You want to give us some names?
So you'd have Asmir Begovic, Shay Given,
Ricardo Fuller.
He just left. He just left.
You
had Shaw Cross, you had myself, Bardo, Crouchy, John Walters, Glenn Whelan, Marko Arnautovic. Like it was, we had some good fun. Like a real. One of the ones where if there was anything needed sorted out in the dressing room, you knew Mark Hughes knew he could just go to whoever, just go listen, get that nipped in the bud, and it's done.
Wow. What, little dressing room politics type thing, like something brewing?
If anything was brewing, or if something needed to be said, or if we were just not performing to a standard, he wouldn't have to come in and do it. He could just go to Wheelo or John Waters and just go listen. Yeah. Get all of these two, or do this, and it would have been done.
Yeah.
So good, and I did enjoy it. And then got the move to Brighton after that.
Did you ever, because like it strikes me, like thought that was beautiful when you're saying how you read someone playing when you go in the tackle them type thing. Did it ever occur to you that you felt like, because you struck me as a footballer as well, someone that was always reading the game really well intuitively. Yeah. Did you think about becoming a manager? Like,
So I'd done my coaching badges at Stoke. That's where I started, and I loved it. And then finished them off at Brighton, and then when I finished at Brighton, I was coaching at Brighton for 3 years in the academy.
So you were thinking about it?
Yeah. And then it was one of them ones with the coaching or the broadcasting. I was doing both at the time, because I'll never forget Eddie Ned that was here as well, and that took me with Arsenal when I was a youngster. He said to me, listen, when you pack up, just make sure you've got a structure, a routine, you're busy. He said, because I've seen it with other people and it's hard. Yeah. So I just made sure I was busy, but I was too busy. I was doing everything and burning the candle both ends. So I had to pick one or the other, basically, and I chose the broadcasting. I enjoyed it probably a little bit more. Yeah. And then I knew that if I wanted to get back into coaching with my profile and the clubs that I'd been at, I could get back into that rather than, or easier than broadcasting. Because for every 3 chairs in broadcasting, you've probably got 100 players that can fit. But it's still a passion. It is still probably something that I would do. I do little drills now with my boys, and if there's things going on, I help teams out, and I love it. There's no better feeling being on the grass. There's no better feeling. Yeah, it's great.
Sid, you're in you're in plenty of people's like modern Fulham team, Fulham 11.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, everyone loves you so much, this club, Ginger and Iniesta. But if we were to do an all-time Fulham 11, and you were in centre midfield, who would you have playing with you? These are your options. Oof. Moose, we talked about Moose. Danny Murphy. I'm feeling like if Scott Parker might be a no, because we just said maybe didn't click. Who else are we talking about? Let's throw Lee Clark in there. Papa Bouba Diop.
Wow.
Throw some other centre midfielders.
Davo.
Let's put Polina in there.
Sean Davis.
Sean Davis.
He's got to be in there, isn't he? He's
great. Who's that?
Well, Sean Davis. Yeah.
Davis,
I mean, that's hard. For me to partner with.
One.
Oh wow!
If you're saying you're going into a campaign for a season, and they've got to click with you, you've got to sort of both
that's
of you
tough.
Like roll off each other. You've got to accommodate each other.
That's really
tough. What would work best?
That's really tough. Murph was a good player. Yeah, he was great for Fulham.
And you did play together, didn't you?
We played well. Yeah. Played really well. We've got a good relationship. Still speak to him now. Still see him outside of football. That's. I mean, Moose has got to be up there. He's one of the best players I've played with. One of the best players. And every club that
everyone
he's been
says
at.
That.
Yeah, he's the player's player, isn't he?
He never had it in him. Yeah. Like inside, there was always that little bit of lacking self-belief. Yeah. Which is just ridiculous. You felt like getting him and shaking him and going, come on, you've got it.
Danny said that. He said, Danny Murphy said over the season you'd want to play with him, but in one game where you needed to get something, you wouldn't necessarily want him there because if you need someone who's going to bring like. Yeah,
but he had moments where like the Spurs goal that he scored, where he just picked it up and just hard to get. Like he's off the ball. Yeah. Off the ball, his off the ball work was phenomenal. You couldn't get past him. You could not get past Musa. Like his two biggest assets and skills was one, explosive off the start. Like he would like a basketball player where he like 1-on-1 standing position he would just burn you either side. And then he does that with the ball and he does that without the ball when someone's trying to get past him. He just gets that big backside in, doesn't he? And just gets his hips in. Yeah. Oh, you're asking me to pick him. That's tough.
We're not leaving this room, so you do.
No, this is
That's really tough. Yeah. I mean, is this?
There's one year. There's a name you've not heard as well. You can throw that in, man.
No, they're all up there. I mean, you can't throw any more into the mix. I'm gonna have to say Musa. Yeah. I'm gonna have to say him. Right. I'm gonna have to say one. I enjoyed watching him play, but two, I enjoyed playing with him and watching him. And I do all these donkey work. Although he does the donkey, I'll do everything for him. And just go, and I would give it to him and just go, Musa, just go and win me the game right now.
Yeah. And it's a nice full circle moment as well, because that's the first guy you train with at Fulham.
Yeah, as he rocked up late with his laces undone. Yeah,
and do you know what? What a great guy.
Yeah.
Oh, got to get him on the pod.
Are you still? Oh, we do. Yeah. Are you still in touch with him now?
No, bit on social media. Yeah. But just so calm and just nothing really ever fazed him, and he was just a nice, like one of the good guys. Yeah. One of the good guys.
Well, finally, the last thing, while we're talking about getting people on the pod, there's a footballer we're looking for, a legend at Fulham, and the only name that no one knows where he is anywhere. Have you ever had a sighting in recent, or actually at any time, of Steve Malbronk?
No. Wow, has he fallen off the face of the earth?
So hard to get hold of. We want to get, of all the players, like he was
what a player.
for Fulham, he was unbelievable.
Yeah. Oh, what a player.
And a stat came out semi-recently that he had more assists in the Premier League than Scholes. Hazard, and he's up there. We used to watch him play here.
I used to hate playing against him. I used to hate playing against him. He was so good, so good. No, don't know. Can't help you with that.
Well, let us
Someone's only ever one phone call away though, so I'll try.
Exactly.
We've tried calling France, but it didn't go very well.
We made that call.
We have made that call, and it started off. Do you speak English by any chance?
Okay, but let's get out on socials then. Operation
Hashtag. Take it down the camera
Finding
first.
Steed.
Hashtag finding Steed.
Hashtag finding Steed. Let's go. Let's get this trending.
Come on, let's find Steed. I even think when we find him, he still won't want to join.
No, yeah, exactly. We found him.
You guys are being weird.
He said no.
Leave me alone. Listen, an absolute pleasure, mate. It's been so good to chat and hang out, man.
Yeah,
honestly.
it's been good. Thanks for having me.
Amazing years. So on behalf of everyone at Fulham, man, thank you, because they're amazing years watching you play.
Yeah, well, enjoyed it. You can see by the smile on my face. It was always nice to talk about and always nice to come back.
Steve Sidwell, Fulham, I would say cult legend, amazing bloke, lovely person, great time to spend like all that in his company. Ivan, what was your highlight out of that conversation?
I loved the story of when Mick McCarthy tried to sign him. I've been in the presence of the wrath of Mick McCarthy. Early doors when I started here, and he was managing Ipswich. And this was back when I was right in the old dugouts, so basically on the pitch. And I was with the fourth, and the fourth was chattering away to me, and having a laugh and laughing about stuff. And Ipswich are 3-0 down, and Mick turns around to the fourth to say, did you see what happened there? And just getting really angry. And then he goes, "Hey, what are you two joking about?" And then gets into this. Sorry about the accent, guys. That's almost offensive. Got really angry, and then started going, "What's the announcer doing down in the dugout?" And he was using his effing and jeffing, going, "The effing stadium announcer. Who has it?" And he wouldn't let it go. And I just sort of skulked back into the dugout and just sank down into my seat, thinking, "Please." Honestly, it was like he's obviously a funny guy, but man, to be on the other side of that, he's scary. And so hearing the story of when he was in the car with his agent going, "Look, Fulham want to sign you," and he's already had his photos, the kit photos, and he's met the team and all that. He gets that little tap on the window. "What's going on here then?" I'm like, oh my God, I just soiled myself, mate. It was brilliant.
I had no idea the level of affinity or compassion you had for that story, because I did see your body language change when you talked about it, and it was you knowing what an intimidating character Mick McCarthy could be.
He really is. So I felt his. As far as I'm concerned, I would have been so scared. I'd probably signed, forever for Wolves. No, I thought he was brilliant, and I feel like that he might be one of those guys that we get back on at some point. He was brilliant.
Oh, definitely, and just feel good for him. Like I say, that because he's obviously things are going great with the Crouch podcast and stuff, and it feels like people really. Just really gravitate towards him, and I think that's really lovely. Like, I think he deserves it, that guy.
So who have we got on the next pod, though? I think, we're going to follow Steve Sidwell. You're going to follow Steve Sidwell with someone. It's got to be someone big, someone iconic, right?
Yeah, and it doesn't get much bigger or more iconic than Slavisa
Jokanovic. Man, I don't think there are many Fulham fans that still don't absolutely love that guy.
Oh, God. I mean, talk about... The thing that I always remember with Jokanovic is that his, the great managers, how you can see almost their figure as a silhouette. Like, you can tell who it is from miles away just by the way they hold themselves and the way they, the way he used to stand with his hand on his hips and his suits. He was such a presence from afar. And I've always been sort of taken with Jokanovic because my, I think a general opinion actually of him was that he was sort of hard as nails, sort of cold dude, who you didn't want to mess with, which I'm sure was true. But having got inside the club a little bit, people really remember him with a warmness, you know what I mean? As a really kind guy. And when we did the chat, I know James, for example, had a chat with him and he was so happy to see him. And so that was really lovely to see how those relationships have lasted, with him, or how people think of him. But anyway, we'll save that for next week because, Yeah, it was great to chat to him, even if he was getting a sofa delivered while we did the chat.
Stopped to unpack some furniture, and we're like, yeah, no worries, you do what you need, mate. You do what you need. Hey, listen, I think now we just take all our energy and we just turn it into positive vibes and focus on getting a good result against Sheffield United on Saturday here at the Cottage. Surely,
that's a big one now, isn't it?
It is a very, very big one. Yeah, I think it's just one of those games where you're like, yeah, we need to win that. Not because things are desperate or anything like that. Just that kind of like, it's Sheffield United. We're at home. We need to win that, you know? Are you going to be back in that bar watching again, mate?
I'll never go to that bar again. But I will be, I'll be in search of the spirits of Bocanegra, Eddie Lewis, Brian McBride, Clint Dempsey and Casey Keller somewhere else. I will also be doing the baseball, so I don't even think I'll be able to watch it. But just let me know how it goes, Ivan. Text me or something, yeah?
I'll text you some updates.
Come on, Fulham.